Mike Graham, the legend, is here, ladies and gentlemen.
Good afternoon.
You pointed out they're not really talking to each other.
There's no actual action going on. I mean, he's talking to Camilla. You can see quite clearly they're having a little chit-chat. But Donald and Melania are just sitting there, not really talking to each other. Surely he should be having a conversation with the president, shouldn't he?
Yes, I would have thought that... But we patently know that probably Charles politically isn't with Trump, but he's doing a job for Great Britain. Yeah. That's really important.
Oh, look, he's looking towards him now.
Like I said, you know, oh, look, you see those people in the red jackets, they're marching up and down. Mummy used to love them because their berries were really shiny.
Yeah, there was some interaction there briefly, but...
I think the problem with Trumpy Trump is he doesn't want to move because his bloody hair will blow away, Camilla.
Well, his hair's staying in place pretty well.
I don't think Melania can see out from under her hat. I think Camilla's pleased because the wind's going to clear her nasal problems because she had sinusitis. And Miliband, he's with Jurgen at GB Energy going, let's get the wind, we need the wind for the electricity.
Yeah, but except the wind blows and there's no electricity because then you have to rely on gas because it's too windy. That's the problem with wind power. If it's too windy, you can't collect the wind power.
Mrs. Starmer's with Mr. Starmer.
Oh, she's there wearing blue for a change. Normally she wears red.
Why is she wearing blue and why is she there?
I don't know.
They're not talking either.
You go back to the old days of newspapers. When I used to work in newspapers, you would literally study absolutely every move, every piece of conversation that's going on, even to the haircuts, to the clothes. You would analyse absolutely everything, which all the papers will do tomorrow. So
you wouldn't be sort of at a pub in Fleet Street just laughing. You'd be doing proper serious work.
Oh no, you do proper serious work. Absolutely
in the pub in Fleet Street.
In the pub in Fleet Street.
Watching it. What do you make of this state visit? It started obviously. Brekkie this morning is ever brilliant. Listened with the kids on the school run. Uncle Mike they call you now, which is quite worrying.
Yeah,
I think Oliver's made Britain great again, and he's only 5.
Good man.
What do you make of this? Patently important that we do it. Donald Trump pluming his feathers. That's fantastic. But again, you look at those photographs and you just see the President of the United States, the King of England, and Starmer 3 rows down.
Yeah. And you realise how unimportant Starmer is and how embarrassing for him to be sitting there at this moment, at the lowest point of his premiership, right, where everybody knows that he's about to leave the office at some point.
I've been saying this a lot. You've been saying this from the beginning of time, right?
And I must, I'm not going to pretend to be Nostradamus. I didn't know what it would be. I just knew there'd be something.
Why?
Because I just don't. An instinct. I just don't think he's got the wherewithal. He hasn't got the gravitas. He hasn't got the knowledge. He hasn't got I think, frankly, the intelligence to do the job. It's too hard for him. He can't control anybody.
No, we were talking about this yesterday. He just doesn't seem to smell it to me. There's nothing authentic, right? So obviously the humiliation continues. We've had Rayner go. We've had the Mandelson debacle that I think will come back and bite him.
Which is still going on, by the way.
That's not going to go.
No.
1 in, 1 out.
Yes.
Front the Sun today. I don't know if we've got it. Probably not. Air Fast 1. Great headline. Thomas Godfrey.
Brilliant.
The irony is not lost on any of us that one of his own ilk, a human rights lawyer, has stopped him having any success with his policy for dealing with illegal migration.
Yeah. And isn't it funny that the tables have now turned? Because there was a time when Keir Starmer was one of those human rights lawyers who was keeping people in this country who should have been deported, to wit, the Jamaican murderer who was meant to be deported back to Jamaica. They saved him. He was one of the people who wrote a letter on his behalf. And they kept him in Britain, and then he went and murdered somebody else.
Do you believe... you don't believe he'll last this Parliament, right?
No, not at all.
How long do you think he's got?
I don't think he'll last this year. No, I think now the skids are under him. Everyone you talk to now in the world of politics, and I'm talking about, people who consider themselves to be seasoned operators, columnists, people like Dan Hodges and others, have all gone to my view, which is that he's done. He's gone. I spoke to somebody this morning who said, all you have to do is look in your eyes. Harry Cole was saying it as well. Yeah. You see in his eyes that he knows he's lost it.
Liz Kendall, do we remember her? Wasn't she working pensions? What's she doing now?
I think she's now in charge of science and technology.
Did you have her on this morning?
No, but we played a clip from BBC Breakfast.
This is Liz Kendall, ladies and gentlemen. This is a Labour minister defending the 1 in, 1 out scheme, which has become 5,500 and bugger all out. Have a listen, have a watch.
It is an interim judgment on one individual. It will not stop this really important deal from going ahead, a deal that says if you come to this country illegally, you can and you will be deported. We have never claimed that that is a silver bullet to tackle all of the problems that we face with small boats and illegal migration, but it is important, and Shabana is determined to make sure that that works.
You just don't even buy the fact that they even believe themselves what they're saying.
She says it's not a silver bullet, but she says that this one case won't stop the others from going through. Well, it's not just one case. There's one case of a particular man, an Eritrean man, who apparently can't go back to France because he'll be destitute.
Can we just talk about this, please?
Yeah.
He's got a human rights lawyer to convince an idiot judge in this country that if he goes back to France, we're past saying it's war-torn, France isn't war-torn,
No.
He's going to be destitute. Now, the definition of destitute is homeless with no food.
Exactly.
I presume that the tent in France and probably ready-made meals are not on a par with a 4-star hotel in London.
Well, I asked
Is that the definition of destitution?
Well, I presume so. And I asked the question this morning, if we are obliged under various different rules of the human rights laws that we have to house these people and we have to give them some kind of subsistence and we have to look after them and feed them, why don't the French have to do that? Because they're also in the ECHR.
Well,
and they're also.
And is it not about definition of the ECHR?
Well,
because the old adage for years has always been, well, the thing is, Jez, if we leave the ECHR, all those lawyers used to say to me, we're the only people, the only countries in the world that don't belong to it are Belarus and Russia. No, there are European countries that don't give a damn about the ECHR and just ride roughshod over
And also,
it.
I don't give a damn about somebody who's destitute in Paris, to be honest. And to be honest, I mean, back in the days of Toulouse-Lautrec, and all of those kind of, impressionist painters, they were often, completely destitute, and they ended up making a lot of money by painting or writing books. That's what we do in France. You don't have to be destitute. You become a sort of a travelling peasant.
Garlic salesman.
Like or an onion salesman. Remember the onion men we used to have? We used to have an onion guy with a blue and white striped shirt.
The beret.
And he had onions and a beret.
And I can do Frank Spencer as well.
And he had onions on the front of his bike, and he would come around selling onions.
Would you like to buy some onions?
No.
No, all right, you don't, right.
No.
So, listen, we'd love your thoughts on this. 0344 499 1000. Before we have a bit of fun, another incredible story.
Yeah.
I mean, sorry, is it not fair to say that the whole basis, or one of the biggest bases of the Labour Party's manifesto of lies, was that they were going to build 1.5 million houses?
They were.
Have you heard the story about Steve Reed?
I haven't, tell me.
Steve Reed is the Environment Secretary, who's just become the new Housing Secretary, replacing Angela Rayner.
Oh, yes.
And he stood up today and he said, it's very important we hit the targets. And then somebody's done a bit of digging, and it transpires that NIMBY Housing Secretary Steve Reed has tried recently to block a development of 237 houses in his constituency.
Brilliant. Of course he has.
Which is what actually, and I'm not just going to lay this at this is why they never get built, because all MPs will pontificate in public, oh, we need more houses, and then I think in private, go, what the hell?
Yeah, they
I genuinely think that.
But you know what I always say when we talk about housing is that, there's a lot of houses being built in this country, because everywhere you go, everywhere I go anyway, there's a new housing development going up. And they might not be affordable houses, but they are eventually, 2, 3, 4, 5-bedroom housing estates being built in all sorts of places around the south east, certainly down in Sussex and Kent. You see them all the time. But part of the problem is that the developers are told you have to make so many of them affordable. And one of the biggest problems that they've got now is, and this is why people are objecting to them, is guess who gets the affordable housing on the housing estates?
The illegal migrants.
Thank you.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah.
That's the United Kingdom.
And that's what you get. And so even if you're on the housing list waiting for something affordable, you get leapfrogged over by these people from Eritrea who don't want to be destitute in Paris. So we give them a house.
Special mention to Sadiq Khan, who's launched a fresh attack on Trump today.
Yes. What a moron. I'm sorry. Who does he think he is? Little pipsqueak.
I can't. I said this just now on Plank. 1 million people voted for him. What about the other 11 million? And shame on you. That's a disgrace, isn't it? We thought we'd have a bit of fun. So today, you're on the spot here. Today, the King swapped presents with Donald Trump. I can exclusively reveal that Donald Trump gave him a copy of the Eisenhower sword, and the King said, Donald, here's a copy.
A sword?
Yes.
Wow.
Sword, Eisenhower. Lovely, Eisenhower, that'll go. But we're giving you a Union Jack, which is brilliant.
That's brilliant.
Which got us thinking, well, not me, because I don't think Ryan, who's known as Ryland, who celebrated his second
I heard you telling him about that. How was dinner?
I don't think dinner would put a smile on his face. I think he probably he had a bit of romance.
He does look happy.
Look at it,
he does look happier today.
Spring in his step and his hat's at a job.
Very much.
Do you deny that you managed to celebrate your second? Oh, look at that.
Yep.
We had a lovely time, and they've got matching dressing gowns. Anyway, I shouldn't say that. Anyway, right, so here's it. Tomorrow, Trump has to swap gifts with Starmer. So I threw it out there to people. What you can have a think while I read these out. Susie, Keir Starmer should give Trump Sadiq Khan. Ant says Trump could give Keir Starmer a new bleeding brain. Mick says Trump should give Starmer his P45 and Starmer should get on his knees and give Trump an apology. Carl, Trump's gift to Keir should be the idiot's guide to politics. Dave in West Wales said Trump should give Starmer a white flag. Starmer's gift to Trump, an absolutely massive humble pie. That's from Martin in Whitley Bay. Matthew Nichols says Trump to give Starmer a copy of Farage's manifesto and how to deal with migrants. That's Matt in Salisbury, Swansea. Trump should give Starmer a one-way trip to Alicante or Alcatraz, and Starmer should give Trump the keys to number 10 and we'd all be happy.
That's true.
What are you thinking?
Well, I'm thinking he should give Trump should give Starmer a dictionary so that he can understand the use of language, because he keeps saying things that don't actually make any sense. I mean, for example, he just tweeted this out, right? And I don't understand what he's getting at.
He's just done this now?
Well, about 56 minutes ago. Real patriots build their communities up, they don't pull them apart. Interesting. And he then says, you can't claim to love our country and then go out and talk it down. Also interesting. In every town and city, there are people helping their neighbours and making things better. I'm on their side. I mean, what does it mean? What's he talking about?
Platitudes.
Does he not know that he's breaking up communities by putting illegal migrants into them when they haven't been asked for them? And they're really, really upset about it. And that's why people are marching around London in there by the hundreds of thousands. And he thinks that talking down the country is actually being critical of him. Well, it's not the same thing.
No, it's not.
I think he should be given a dictionary.
There's a country and there's you. A couple more on the gifts. Voice notes. Fran on gifts. Go.
I think Donald Trump should give Keir Starmer a backbone. Wouldn't that be fantastic? Love the show, bye.
Brilliant. JP,
Very
nice. Or any sort of bone. JP on gifts, go.
Remember those yellow books, How To for Dummies? I think Trump should give him How to Run a Country for Dummies.
8722, start your message with the word talk. Sean Cooper goes, I'm watching the faces, Jez, on Trump and Charles. I don't think it's going very well. Neither of them look happy. I think Mike's right, says Sean in Bridlington. Steve in Burnley, the Red Arrows will arrive at Windsor at around 4:45. He said, I'm to do with them. They're currently heading for Northampton. Well, thank you very much for the update.
Excellent.
They're sitting there waiting, and I know what's going on. Steve... Oh, yeah, we've done that. Thanks very much. JK, it has to be a one-way ticket to Alicante or Alcatraz. It looks like Starmer's being... everybody wants to go on. Tim, Trump should give Starmer a personality. Yeah. And Starmer should give Trump a first sight of his resignation letter. Trump...
Yeah, perhaps he could take it out of his pocket. I've got a letter here from the King. Remember that? It was awful. This is covered in oil.
Slime ball.
Yeah.
Trump to give Starmer a set of... but I nearly said balls. That's Vanessa from Hapton. Jeff, Trump will give Starmer the DVD Liar Liar. Trump should give Starmer a P45. Martin Waddington. Trump give to Starmer a copy of children's favourite book. Where's Wally? The plank is never to be seen when the hits the fan. And Alan, hi Jez, Trump should give Starmer a few sausages he's released. Starmer should give Trump the keys to number 10. Great show. Alan the Forest of Dean. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
I must release the sausages.
He must release the sausages. I mean, it's impossible to explain that. There's no way in any kind of normal world that anybody would say that word instead of hostages.
Do you think, before we let you go, because you worked hard again, your backside off, you've followed politics for a long time. Before you started in this, you wrote about it. Can he claw this back? Genuinely. Can Starmer claw this back? No. Can something happen?
No. I don't think so.
You know, at the most unpopular moments in politicians' lives, you think Thatcher and the Falklands came along. She was less popular than Keir Starmer.
Yeah.
Tony Blair, the Gulf War.
Yeah.
Starmer, I said this about Trump, and Kinsey didn't agree, but what I didn't probably explain myself well. I believe the Epstein thing has been removed by what happened at the appalling assassination of Charlie Kirk. Yeah. Politicians who work out, sometimes things happen. Can something happen for Starmer?
But I don't think it can, because, I do know what you're saying, but I think for Tony Blair, for example, one of the big things that made a difference to him was not so much the Iraq War, but it was 9/11. Yeah. Because he said quite rightly, 9/11 changed everything. Yeah. And no matter how much criticism he gets for doing what he did in Iraq, and we can all do it now, there was a lot of people wanted him to do it at the time, particularly the President of the United States, and he stood, as he said, shoulder to shoulder with George Bush, and they went into Iraq together. But necessarily, he did what he thought he had to do. Same with Thatcher, invaded the Falkland Islands, the right thing to do. Yeah. There's nothing Starmer can do. I mean, you see the state of the submarine in the paper the other day. It looks like something you'd find at the bottom of your garden. It's all covered in sort of, in the horrible, ghastly kind of, what do you call it, algae from the sea, and it looks ancient. And you just think, are you seriously telling me? He said this just a few weeks ago. We're on a war footing. We're on a war footing. We're not on a war footing. We've got no chance. And I don't see any kind of judgment in his brain that he can actually pick a subject. If he could fix immigration, he might have a chance. But he can't, and he won't.
Because he doesn't want to.
Because in his heart of hearts, he thinks it's right to let all these bozos into the country.
Couldn't agree more. I'm going to ask you the question. We do it every Wednesday. It's 20 to 5. Morning Glory back tomorrow at 6 a.m. What's on the show?
No idea.
Yeah, no idea at all.
No, don't know.
Presumably something about the road trip.
There'll be something about the road trip. We'll be watching, obviously, what goes on at the state banquet. I don't think we've seen the menu yet, have we?
Harry Cole's there.
I know he is. I was saying that to him earlier today.
Did they show you the menu?
We'll see the menu before they eat it. Normally,
I don't want truffles.
No, well, what I said was, wouldn't it be great if, and actually we had the royal correspondent from the Sun down there, Matt Wilkinson, this morning, and he was saying basically that there's a McDonald's right by where he was standing. Wouldn't it be great if Donald Trump sends out for McDonald's when he's staying at Windsor tonight, and just bring it to the main gate?
Just bring, Can you send one of those illegal immigrants who are working for Just Eat?
Right.
I want 2 Big Mac meals.
That's what I'd like to see. I don't know if he'll do it, but he likes to sit up late watching TV. And, you get a bit peckish at 2 a.m.
Yeah.
It might be a 24-hour drive-through, I don't know.
I hope he's watching Talk, because we love the man.
Yeah.
Listen, a legend you are. Thank you so much indeed. MG, back tomorrow morning, 6 o'clock, and Plank of the Week, which is a very, very, very funny one, centring on a tribe somewhere in Scotland. What were they called?
The Kabbalah tribe.
It's 4 people.
Yeah.
Anyway, that on Plank of the Week, 7 o'clock, it drops on Friday.